So my noble believing brothers and sisters, ask yourselves, do I have good thoughts of Allah?
لم يترك الخلق سدى وهملا بل خلق الخلق ليعبدوه وبالإلهية يفردوه.
أيها الناس حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا. O people, take account of yourselves before you are taken into account for. وزنوا أعمالكم قبل أن توزنوا. Put forth your deeds before they are weighed. فإن اليوم عمل ولا حساب. Because today you have the opportunity to do righteous deeds, and there is no accountability. وغدا حساب ولا عمل. However, tomorrow, meaning on the day of judgment, there is only going to be accountability and no opportunity to do righteous deeds. وَيَا قَوْمْ إِنَّمَا هَذِهِ الدُّنْيَا مَتَاعٌ. O my people, indeed the life of this world, it is only but a deception. وَإِنَّ الْآخِرَةَ هِيَ دَارَ الْقَرَارِ. However, the life of the hereafter, it is an everlasting life. فَكُنْ فِي الدُّنْيَا كَأَنَّكَ غَرِيبٌ. Therefore be in this world as though you are a stranger, أو عابر السبيل, or someone that is just passing through. وَاسْتَعِدْ لِلِقَاءِ اللَّهِ. And prepare yourselves for the meeting with Allah. وَاسْتَعِدْ لِيَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. And prepare yourselves for the day of standing, the day of judgment. My noble believing brothers and sisters in Islam, رواه ابن أبي الدنيا يقول عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله عنهما والذي لا إله غيره. Ibn Abi Dunya, he transmits the statement of Abdullah bin Mas'ud, the noble companion, radiallahu ta'ala an, where it is that he said, وَالَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ غَيْرُ. I swear by Allah, who none has the right to be worshipped in truth, besides Him alone without any partners. مَا أُعْتِيَ عَبْدٌ مُؤْمِنٌ شَيْئًا خَيْرًا مِنْ حُسْنِ الظَّنِّ بِاللَّهِ. A believing slave is not given anything better than having good thoughts of Allah, the Mighty and the Magnificent. وَالَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ غَيْرُ. And I swear by Allah, the one none has the right to be worshipped in truth besides Him, alone without any partners. لا يحسن عبد بالله الظن. A believing slave does not have good thoughts of Allah Azza wa Jal إلا أعطاه الله ظنه, except that Allah the Mighty and the Magnificent gives him the good thoughts that he thought of Allah. ذلك بأن الخير في يده. And that is because all good is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My noble believing brothers and sisters in Islam, it is upon the believer to connect his iman, to complete his iman, to perfect his iman by having good thoughts of his Lord tabaraka wa ta'ala. Having good thoughts of Allah in every circumstance. Thinking of Allah only that which is good. The believer who is complete in his iman, the believer who is striving to please Allah Azza wa Jal, only thinks of Allah what is good during his good times and his times of struggle. That is because this individual, his iman is complete. He is striving to please his Lord tabaraka wa ta'ala. Allah Azza wa Jal, He informed us concerning this tremendous attribute of having husnul dhan billah, having good thoughts of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. When it is that He, the Mighty and the Magnificent, He described the believers with this tremendous quality. When it is that He revealed, الَّذِينَ قَالَ لَهُمُ النَّاسِ إِنَّ النَّاسِ قَدْ جَمَعُوا لَكُمْ فَاخْشَوْهُمْ. Those people, when it is that they said that those individuals, they're gathering for you, they're strengthening to come for you, therefore fear them. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, He informed us what the believers said next. فَزَادَهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَقَالُوا حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ وَنِعْمَ الْوَكِيلُ. This only increased the true believers in Iman. It only increased them in Iman. And they said, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for us. And how perfect is Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala as our disposer. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala describes the believers with having this tremendous quality. Husnul dhan billah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Always thinking good of your Lord. Always having good thoughts of Allah the Mighty and the Magnificent. No matter what the circumstances are. No matter how difficult it may be, no matter what trial you're facing, whether that trial is economic, whether that trial it is social, whether that trial is with your family, whether that trial is with your health and your life and your status, it is upon the believer to always have good thoughts of Allah. To always have good thoughts of Allah. The one that is complete in Iman. He always thinks good of Allah, and it encourages him to fulfill the obligations of ubudiyya to his Lord Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. In contradiction to those who have evil thoughts of Allah. The opposite, those who have evil thoughts of Allah. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has also described them when it is that He revealed وَيُعَذِّبَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, He has punished the hypocritical men and the hypocritical women, وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ وَالْمُشْرِكَاتِ, and the polytheist men and the polytheist women, الظَّانِينَ بِاللَّهِ ظَنَّ السَّوْءِ. Then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala begins this description here that they had evil thoughts of Allah. الظَّانِينَ بِاللَّهِ ظَنَّ السَّوْءِ. Those who have evil thoughts of Allah. Those who think of their Lord Tabaraka wa Ta'ala evil things. Then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentions the second sifa. عَلَيْهِمْ دَائِرَةُ السَّوْءِ. And upon them is that they are going to have evil omens. وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. The third characteristic is that Allah Azza wa Jal characterizes them with His anger. That they are going to have the anger of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. وَلَعَنَهُمْ. And Allah Azza wa Jal mentions the fourth is that He is going to curse them. وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ جَهَنَّمَ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. And the fifth characteristic here is that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, He is going to prepare for them the hellfire. And what's an evil abode. My noble believing brothers and sisters in Al-Islam, understand that the origin of having evil thoughts of your Lord Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is incited by no other than the shaitan. Having evil thoughts of your Lord arises in your hearts from the shaitan and his awliya. As Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He informed us in His book, إِنَّمَا ذَلِكُمُ الشَّيْطَانِ يُخَوِّفُ أَوْلِيَاءَ فَلَا تَخَافُوهُمْ وَخَافُونِي إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. And it is the shaitan who incites you to fear his allies. Therefore do not fear them, but fear me if it is that you are true in belief. If it is that you are true in belief, then it is upon you to have fear for Allah Azza wa Jal and good thoughts of Him, the Mighty and the Magnificent. Allah Azza wa Jal, He informed us in His book, وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And do righteous deeds, for indeed Allah the Mighty and the Magnificent, He loves those who do righteous deeds. The noble, knowledgeable tabi'i, Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah ta'ala, he said concerning these words of Allah the Mighty and the Magnificent, أي فأحسنوا الظن بالله. It means that you should have good thoughts of Allah. When Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, وَأَحْسِنُوا, do righteous deeds, it means that you should only have good thoughts of your Lord Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in every circumstance. Have good thoughts of Allah, O slaves of Allah. Have good thoughts of Allah, and Allah is going to complete for you your iman. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to grant you success in this life and the life of the hereafter. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-azim. ونفعني وإياكم من البيان والذكر الحكيم. أقول هذا القول واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله على فضله وإحسانه وأشكره على توفيقه وامتنانه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. My noble believing brothers and sisters in Islam, there comes in the authentic collection of Imam al-Bukhari and other than him with different wordings, on the authority of Abi Hurayrata radiallahu ta'ala an, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, Ana inda dhanni abdi bi. Listen carefully. I am as my slave thinks of me. Ana inda dhanni abdi bi. I am as my slave thinks of me. فَلْيَظُنَّ بِمَا شَاءَ. So let him think whatever he wants. Let him think whatever he wants. Wallahi, my noble believing brothers and my noble sisters, this is a very important matter in each of our lives. Having good thoughts of Allah. The believer, because of his trials and the things that he sees in this world, what is customary and the people that he is amongst is that he thinks evil of his Lord. Is that he doesn't have good thoughts of his Lord. Something happens to him, he becomes fearful. With regards to his own life and his ibadat, you see whether he has good thoughts of Allah or not. If a person has good thoughts of Allah, then he is going to sacrifice his life, everything, his life and his wealth and his strength, for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. If you have good thoughts of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, then you are going to believe that the only and sole purpose of your creation is ubudiyya. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And I have not created the jinn and the humankind except that they worship me alone. So my noble believing brothers and sisters, ask yourselves, do I have good thoughts of Allah? Am I the servant who has good thoughts of my Lord Tabaraka wa Ta'ala? If I have good thoughts of Allah, then I am going to fulfill the obligations which Allah has made obligatory upon me. If I have good thoughts of Allah, then I would not find worship to be difficult upon me. Because Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is the one who legislated these acts of worship for me. If I have good thoughts of Allah, then me learning about Him, my Creator, is not something that is going to be heavy upon me. If I have good thoughts of Allah, then getting up in the morning for Fajr and making wudu and heading to the masjid is not going to be difficult upon me. It's going to be easy upon me because I have good thoughts of my Creator. Because my Creator wants good for me. When was the last time, my noble brother, that you prayed 5 salawat in the masjid? When was the last time? Ask yourselves, O noble ones, is this having good thoughts of Allah? Is this having good thoughts of Allah? When was the last time, O noble one? When was the last time that you sat down in a class of Tawheed or Hadith or Fiqh to learn about your Lord Tabaraka wa Ta'ala? When the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Talibul ilm faridatu ala kulli Muslim. The seeking of knowledge is fard upon every Muslim. This is having good thoughts of Allah. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Man yuridillahu bihi khayra yufakkihu fid din. Whomsoever Allah wants good for, He gives that individual understanding of the religion of Islam. Having good thoughts of Allah, my noble believing brother, is seeing these righteous deeds to be easy. Seeing these righteous deeds to be easy. Fear Allah, O slaves of Allah. I close with a tremendous statement of Al-Awza'i. He mentioned that the earlier generations used to supplicate with a tremendous supplication. A beautiful supplication which every believer should memorize. Allahumma inni as'aluka at-tawfiq limahabbika min al-a'mal. O Allah, I ask you for the success, to have the love for doing righteous deeds, وَصِدْقَ التَّوَكُّلِ عَلَيْكَ, and to have true reliance upon you, وَحُسْنَ الظَّنَّ بِكَ, and to only have good thoughts of you. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ عِبَادَ اللَّهِ. Fear Allah, O slaves of Allah.
وعلا لم يترك الخلق سدى وهملا بل خلق الخلق